Hello everyone, I hope that you can all hear me. Since this is recording, I'm Joy DuPont and this is my social informatics presentation. So, first off, I work at a small public library in Columbus, Mississippi. The main branch is in Columbus, with 3 other very small branches located in Lowndes County. The Columbus Lowndes Public Library system serves about 26,000 patrons total. We offer public computers, free Wi-Fi, and lots of other cool things like the Tennessee Williams collection. For this presentation, I chose to focus on public libraries and the digital divide. I chose this topic because it is something that I come in contact with every day at work, and I believe that it is something I will continue to face no matter what career I choose. Because I come in contact with it so frequently, I always want to learn more about this situation and try to come up with ways to bridge the gap. The digital divide is one of the areas of knowledge on my ePortfolio, and I've actually created a pathfinder that focuses on the digital divide and job searches, which is currently being used by the library where I work. I think that in order to help bridge the gap, it's important to really understand the meaning of the digital divide. So, the digital divide is typically defined as the gap between the have and the have-nots. It can either be a lack of access to things like computers and the internet, or it could also be having access to computers and the internet without possessing knowledge of how to use them. I actually prefer the example provided by DiMaggio and Hargitay, who claim that students should shift their attention from the digital divide, or haves and have-nots, to digital inequality. Digital inequality, according to the authors, refers not only to the difference in access, but to inequality among people with formal access to the internet. While the definitions are fairly similar, I feel that the explanation of digital inequality is easier to understand, and I also appreciate the removal of the phrase have and have-nots, which I don't necessarily agree with. DiMaggio and Hargitay don't expect the trend of inequality to last forever because of the changes in technology and organizations, but right now we have to face it. Another focus of these authors is access. What exactly is access? Access is defined by the authors as not who can find a network connection at home, work, or in a library or community center, but what people are doing and what they are able to do when they go online. But according to a study focusing on locations like libraries, telecenters, and cyber cafes, access is not enough. The authors claim that while simply having access to the internet is not enough, it is, however, a starting point. The way to view the digital divide or digital inequality is important to me because this is the way that I most frequently observe the digital divide. Because I work at a public library that offers free computer use to the public, access isn't the issue. There are 20 public computers available for public use, along with 2 computers designated specifically for job use, and 1 computer meant for teen use only. There literally is not a day that passes without having several patrons ask questions that are, usually to me, pretty basic computer skills. The library patrons have the access to computers and the internet, but they don't always possess the knowledge or skill set required to use them. Unfortunately for our patrons, library rules dictate that library employees cannot assist patrons with anything more than very basic computer needs. Employees are not allowed to walk patrons through each step of job applications, or sit down and help them create a resume, or anything like that. Luckily, we do have a series of free computer classes each month. These classes typically include basic computer use, basic internet searches, and how to set up and use an email account. More recently, the classes have been expanded to include job searching and resume creation. Each class lasts for an hour and focuses on one of these areas. Classes do have limited seating because we provide the laptops for patrons to use, and being a small library, we only have 10. Unfortunately, it seems that there is also an intimidation factor that comes with computer use, especially for those who have absolutely no experience at all. I have heard so many people say that they are embarrassed to go to computer classes because they're so inexperienced. They believe that people would judge them for their lack of understanding. I don't think they realize that the people in the classes are going to the classes because they don't understand either. Seeing the intimidation of patrons and realizing that they may not be able to attend the library's computer classes when they are offered led me to create the CLPL Pathfinder for the final project of Dr. Douglas's Government Resources course. My focus in creating the Pathfinder was on job searches and the digital divide because my most frequent encounters with digital inequality come from those who are searching for jobs. The Pathfinder is divided into three main sections: Introduction, Computer Resources, and Job Resources. The introduction is a short screencasted video that provides a tutorial on how to navigate the site. Each of the links is explored in the video, and a brief explanation is provided for each of the sections. The computer resources are mainly links to digital learn videos, which is what the library actually uses for the computer classes that it offers. There are also a few YouTube videos linked as well, like how to create a resume. I realize that creating a website for people with limited computer skills seems a little bit confusing, but I believe that it removes the intimidation factor as people can work through the site and videos at their own speeds rather than being moved along in a class setting. The job sources on the Pathfinder include links to local, state, and national job sites, along with links to the classified sections of local papers. And that's the link if anyone is interested in looking at the Pathfinder. More bridges. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation employees Jessica Dorr and Richard Ackroyd were able to visit 5 national Native American libraries in New Mexico. In their interactions with library employees, the authors learned that many reservations lack the basic urban infrastructures that most Americans just take for granted: roads, power, water, and communications. 53% of Native households on reservations have phones, compared to about 94% of American homes. 15% have computers, with only 10% having internet access. Tribal leaders worked with the Gates Foundation to bring in a grant to help bring in technologies to reservation libraries and provide instruction on their use. Public computing centers as extensions of the library into the community. According to a study performed by the University of Washington, nearly 1/3 of Americans aged 14 and older used a public library computer or public wireless access to access the internet in the past year. The study also claims that 65% of these users were seeking information for persons other than themselves. Aaron Krebeck, IT manager at Charles County Public Library in Maryland, has been working to address the digital divide by providing greater access to what he calls costly services. His library offers free, high-bandwidth fiber optic connection. Although Charles County libraries currently have 60 public computers, they are running out of room for expansion. So recently, a public computing center was added to the Charles County Capitol Clubhouse as an extension of library services out into the community. Ideas for the future. So currently, the library has its computer classes, and our job search and resume building volunteer does use the Pathfinder that I created to help the patrons pretty frequently. Right now, these are the ways that we are bridging the gap, and it's just one location. But how could we do it in the future? When I was researching for the presentation, the voice sites used in India kept popping up in my head. I kept thinking that it would be really cool if there were a way to combine the computer classes or computer instruction with those voice sites. For example, if a person wants to apply for a job at Walmart, but they aren't sure what to do, they could potentially call a phone number listed on the website and follow commands given to them through the phone. I imagine that the service would sort of be like an automated prescription refill. You just push the button for each option and then press another number when you've completed each section, and then just hang up when you're done. I also think that the websites would greatly benefit from having simple tutorials on their websites, because I've seen several patrons get frustrated when there has been an issue or misunderstanding with their job applications, and they just walk away because the library rules don't allow employees to walk them through the application process. So that's everything that I have, and these are my references, and at the very bottom are the links to some things I have mentioned, the knowledge section of my ePortfolio, which includes a section on the digital divide, the Pathfinder that I created for job searches in the digital divide, and this is just the library's website down at the bottom. Does anyone have any questions?